Trump, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, always good to see you. You know, look, for goodness sakes, I'm just sort of like, you know, if you guys are going to get that worked up about it, about a meeting, and the last time I checked, we're allowed to exchange information all around the world. You might have friends from Timbuktu. You're allowed to talk to them. Maybe they are going to tell you an interesting story on this, that, or the other. You should be able to get that information. But if we want to talk about somebody out there trying to dig up dirt on their opponent via a foreign source, for goodness sakes, the Hillary campaign's out there in Russia doing it. Why is nobody complaining about that?
Why? Because if the left didn't have double standards, they would have no standards at all. That's a line from my good friend Chris Plant. Trish, let's just compare apples to apples. In the one case, you have a private citizen who said she'd worked for the Russian government. Okay, what does that mean? Misrepresent herself to get a meeting with the president's son. Whether the president or knew about it beforehand or not is irrelevant. Nothing happened at the meeting, and this woman wanted to talk about the Magnitsky Act and didn't have any information on Hillary. And as you said, I can meet with anybody. I can meet with somebody from Timbuktu, should I wish, if I'm running a political campaign and they say they have opposition research. Let's contrast that with Hillary and the DNC. The DNC and Hillary's lawyers paid at least $12 million to a non-registered foreign agent. So Christopher Steele, an MI6 former secret agent, was not registered under the FARA Act, and he compiled a dossier, which is just a fancy word for propaganda, made up of Russian misinformation. Now, if that's the definition of collusion, then Hillary should be doing 25 years to life right now. Yeah, look, I think we just have to be, clear-headed about this stuff. And, when you're out there saying that Trump somehow colluded because his son took a meeting with someone who didn't have anything to offer, and then on the other hand, the other side is actually paying for this information, misinformation from the Russians, I think, in all fairness, she's got more problems than the Trump campaign does. Not only that, look what happened afterwards. That propaganda file was used to illegally obtain a surveillance warrant in a FISA court, because the judge was not told that Hillary had paid for it and wasn't told that it was opposition research, both facts which would have been exculpatory with regards to Carter Page, and that warrant would not have been issued. So it's not just Hillary, it's all the top echelons of the DOJ and the FBI under Obama who are now very, very vulnerable to being prosecuted for felonies and abuse of power.
This is what is so disturbing to me, Dr. Gorka, about this whole thing. There's a part of me that thinks Putin wanted us to be in this position. He knew that we were divided. He knew that we had some political beings there in the Obama administration, and he knew how to sort of get this controversy started, whether it be parading that Russian lawyer, and who's to say he didn't do that? Right? I mean, if you actually had intel, if you're actually working for, the Russian intelligence, you're not going to waltz right in on Fifth Avenue with all the security cameras and everybody watching and a full-on record of it. I mean, that was out in the open for anyone to see. They weren't hiding anything. I only make this point because, Dr. Gorka, our politicians, I fear, and members of the previous administration fell for this. They fell for what Putin basically laid out. And that threatens our democracy.
But not only, Trish, they didn't just fall for it, they're actually facilitating it. When you have Adam Schiff lying 24/7, when you've got John Brennan, who voted for the communist Gus Hall candidate in 1976, saying, well, look, I don't have any evidence, but Putin could be blackmailing the president. He is doing Moscow's bidding. When you've got Max Boot, this is shocking, you showed that clip. Max Boot's parents were Soviet refuseniks who escaped the Soviet Union, and now he's spinning a yarn that is making Vladimir Putin happy. It's reprehensible. It really is shameful.
It's bothersome to me that members of the left and members of the media, and I include CNN and MSNBC and anyone else in there that's being irresponsible about this stuff. You say they're doing Putin's bidding. I agree with you, Dr. Gorka. But you know what? We should be better than that. I mean, this is why I would point out this Mueller investigation is very important. And if there's anything, we ought to know about it. But he's got to be looking very hard at I don't think that the Trump campaign did anything collusion-wise, but I'm very concerned about the members of the administration that were out there using information to spy on American citizens. And I want someone to get to the bottom of that. Will Mueller do it?
Trish, I was in the Oval a year ago and the president told me they will not find anything because there is nothing. And I trust that man. I worked for him before he was president. I worked for him in the White House. But you're absolutely right. My theory is let it all, investigate all of it. Investigate the unmasking and investigate all the FISA abuse. But my trouble is they're only looking at one side right now. And Mueller is acting like, you know, there's that famous phrase from the founder of the KGB, Levent Beria, who said, show me the man and I will find you the crime.
Oh, of course,
that's not what we do in America. It's not what we do.
No, and never should. All right, Dr. Gorka, thank you. Good to see you and get your perspective.
Thank you, Trish.